Welcome to, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, June 4th, 2026 Public Works Committee meeting. We have myself, Councilmember Swarthout, and Councilmember Van Holtz in attendance. Can I have a motion of approval of our last minutes, which was 7 May 2026?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So let's get started. We have a pretty packed agenda today. First, I am looking at professional services agreement with Gray and Osborne for design of the Trosper Road Sewer Extension Project. Water Resources.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who's briefing us today?
So my name is Kyle Zahusky. I'm the Deputy Director for the WERS. Are you able to see my screen then?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. So yes, we are seeking a recommendation from the committee to place the contract with Gray and Osborne for design services for the Trosper Road Sewer Extension on the city's consent calendar for the June 16th meeting. I'll provide just a quick background on the project. It's located along Trosper Road and 54th. I'll remind you that I presented to the committee back in April seeking authorization from the council to accept the low interest loan in the amount of $5,250,000 from the Department of Ecology. I will note that all that paperwork has been submitted and approved, and the funds are available for that project. So for the scope of the project, the project would extend the existing sewer line from Lambskin west along Trosper 54th, and then as well as up Joppa Street. And the primary driver for the project is water quality, and that through previous TMDL or total maximum daily load assessments, there have been water quality concerns identified with elevated levels of fecal coliform and total nitrogen. And so we want to protect and improve localized groundwater in that area. We'll also use this project as a case study to help facilitate the development of the program and policies for the septic to sewer conversion program for the city. And so the council will be brought information as we continue to develop those. And so this is used as a case study to help facilitate that process. And with this particular project, we anticipate that there'll be 32 parcels that will now have the ability or sewer available to them. So for this effort, we went out for a formal request for qualifications. And so we encouraged qualified firms to submit their statement of qualifications and address the following criteria. What the firm, where they're located, what are the primary types of projects they do, who their project manager would be in their project team, as well as to provide their specific approach to the proposed project, schedule and availability, the team members, and then a list of references, previous projects that they've done that demonstrate their ability to complete the work. And with that, we actually received 7 statement of qualifications from 7 qualified firms. And so we had an internal committee developed, and each member ranked the statement of qualifications based on that criteria. We all got together and discussed that. Ultimately, we selected Gray and Osborne as the most qualified firm. There was consensus with that, so that was great. It was nice to see that we had so many interested parties, so that's helpful moving forward, knowing that we have quite a bank of qualified firms out there. So Gray and Osborne submitted a scope and fee. Transportation and engineering folks did a great job of working with them and negotiating on the fee, identifying potential opportunities to reduce cost. So the tasks include project management, data collection, utility coordination. We'll also do a pre-design report to solidify the scope of work for the project. That will include getting stakeholders together to agree upon what that is. It will also include an updated cost estimate so that we can better understand the total project costs. They'll support and permitting, as well as we'll go through a formal 30, 60, 90% design. I will note too that we'll also come back to the council at some point requesting a construction management services once we have a contract underway for the actual construction. So the existing proposed contract includes a $50,000 management reserve. So if there are things that were not identified originally, then we'll have that available. This is a not to exceed contract. So if the project goes smoothly, then don't necessarily have to spend the entire amount. So the current cost estimate for the project is based on the loan amount of $5,250,000. One thing that I've used in the past to evaluate design fees is the percentage of the proposed construction cost. Those can range anywhere from 8 to 20 to 25%. I felt comfortable at the 11% of the design fee of the total or the project cost. So I felt comfortable with that. And again, we were in consensus moving forward with Gray and Osborne. Provide an update on the schedule. Here we are today in June. We hope to have the design completed.
Tal,
By-
can you
Yes.
go back to the previous slide for me, please?
That-
Okay, I'm looking at the fiscal notes. And it says the loan has a 30-year term with an effective interest rate of 2.7%, and it
Yep.
won't impact the city's overall debt capacity. And it's funded by the Sanitary Sewer Utility Fund. Is there any other loans that we have for water resources like this?
Yeah, there are a number of different potential funding opportunities depending on the project.
Mm-hmm.
So we are exploring all of those. There's also Public Works Trust Fund loans that are available. And I've had experience in securing those as well. Department of Health has other types of loans that are available for drinking water construction. And so we're always looking for opportunities to secure outside funding, grants and loans. So
Oh, okay. So this is not a definite, the city is paying for this in 30-year.
No,
There is
this is a definitive loan. We have secured. We have agreed with the Department of Ecology, on this loan. Is there an opportunity for us to be potentially forgiven in the future years? That's a future discussion to have. And so that's a possibility. And as Tal mentioned, there are other funding sources out there. We will always be looking for, grants that can help offset costs for various programs, and we might see some of those opportunities come up when we, as we go through this program. We might be looking at other kind of connection programs.
Right.
Or other further extension programs. This is kind of really helping set the stage for what the future of extensions, into existing neighborhoods and kind of modification of the kind of the sewer systems, or the going from like a kind of a septic system format to a sanitary sewer program for those customers in those areas. In addition, we do have other programs or other projects, for, in particular the sewer program, is helping fund the public works facility, and there will likely be some debt issues for that as well. So we're coming into an era where we're actually going to be acquiring some debt on the other utilities as well, for both stormwater and water, drinking water being the heaviest kind of impacts there. So there will be some additional debts. I think that was answering your question.
Right.
What other issues are we
Right.
looking at, out there? But
Right.
more on that to come in future sessions.
Okay, thank you.
Eileen, did you have a question?
I do.
Yeah.
So following up on that, so I just want to point clarification. So right now it looks like, so we've secured a loan to be able to pay for the total project. Is that what you're saying, Dan and Tyler? Tile?
Yes.
Currently,
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay.
well, yes, we have secured a low interest loan from the Department of Ecology. Again, this is a pilot program that we hope to use to evaluate other funding mechanisms to help assist people in connecting to the sewer system, leveraging some work that had been previously done. So, it is expensive to get people to connect, and we want to help them be successful if they do desire to get connected to the system. So
Yeah.
that's part of the process here, to evaluate outside funding sources and that feasibility.
I know it's very expensive. And so my other question though is to City Administrator Simmons then, when we're looking at lots of things that that are on part of our on our grocery cart this year. How does this affect, does this have any effect on the other, like the building that we're looking at and any other costs that we're looking at taking on this year?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Councilmember Swarthout, and I'm glad you asked it. In my discussions with our finance director, Troy, who's on vacation this week, what he has indicated is that the utilities actually have their own debt limit that's equal to the general fund's debt limit. So any utility projects don't actually count against the same debt limit as like our city hall purchase or some of the other things that we're considering. So that's a positive. When I learned that, I had a little bit of a sense of relief just because of the backlog of projects that we do have that we need to pursue.
Right.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So,
And then my only other,
no,
go ahead.
carry on. Go ahead.
The only other question I had was if we could go back to the map that showed where the route is going to go, how far down it goes. So does that go in front of our, it doesn't go in front of the property that we're having an issue with right now, correct? Or does it?
Depending on which
The-
property.
The property that abuts
It does.
Prosper, does it?
It does go past it, yes.
Okay.
So the red dots are right, or the yellow dots? Is that where?
The
I was gonna say, that
sewer
existing,
line.
if it's the same property you're thinking of there on the corner there, that is an existing sanitary sewer system. So there is already sewer at that location.
Uh-huh.
So there's already, but we don't have hookups. Is that what we
Correct.
have water and sewer, but they don't, those
They're not
structures aren't
connected.
connected, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, but that already exists. So anything in red is what we're building, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, got it. All right. Just wanted to.
Yeah, Eileen, I just want to point out too that, with the loan, that is the project budget. With the pre-design report that we'll conduct with Grant Osborne, that will help identify the extent of the project itself so that we can stay within the budget. So if we don't extend as far west, then, so we'll match the project with the funds that we have available.
Oh,
But we
okay.
But we will get up Joppa and extend along
You said,
Prosper.
okay,
Yeah,
all right. So that's our main goal. Okay, good to
Yeah.
know. Thank you.
for sure. All right, so again, hopeful to have this project under construction here starting next summer. Again, there are some identified high groundwater areas in there, so the hope is to get some of that work done, prior to the winter season. But I think we're on a good pace right now and look forward and hopeful that the committee is in favor of moving forward with Grant Osborne. And with that, I guess we would hope that the committee would place professional services contract with Grant Osborne for the design of the Trosper Sewer Extension Project on the June 16th, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve. I'll take any additional questions.
Any questions? Councilmember Van Holtz?
I don't. In fact, I just got off of a call with the city of Tacoma for a sewer replacement project. So I feel like this is just my day.
Okay. City administrator, my only, not concerned, but just to show the city a picture of our loans. So this 5 million, and to just capture them all somewhere. So it's easily digestible, what it looks like 15 years, what it looks like for 30 years.
Yeah, that's a
right.
great point, Councilmember Jefferson. We currently don't have any debt. And so right now there's nothing to show. But as we start to look at these projects, particularly when we do the financial analysis, we have just full disclosure, we have a debt package that we're working on right now that would consider some property acquisitions as well as the city hall facility as well as T2. So that's a debt package that we're working on that would include the general fund. And we will definitely be bringing that information back probably through Budget and Finance Committee, and then eventually to the full council as some of these projects advance forward.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So we have a recommended action to place the service provider agreement with Gray and Osborne for the Trosper Road Sewer Extension Design Project on the June 16th, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Next, let's discuss the service provider agreement amendment number 2 with RH2 Engineering Incorporated for the Southeast Water Reservoir Design Project, Transportation and Engineering Department.
Okay, good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
yes.
Hey, all right.
Yes,
Can you
sir,
see
we
the
can.
screen?
Uh-huh.
All right, great. Thank you. Hey, good morning, Chairperson, members of the council and committee. My name is Jeff Query, Project Manager, Engineer 3 for the city's Transportation and Engineering Department, and I'm here today to present amendment number 2 for the City of Tumwater's Southeast Reservoir Project. To give you a quick refresher on the project itself, this involves the construction of a new 3 million gallon water reservoir off of 93rd Avenue near the southern city limits. This critical infrastructure will serve the city's 350 pressure zone water distribution system. As you know, Tumwater is growing, and this reservoir will provide vital water capacity for both domestic and commercial use. So I just got a note passed to me there. There we go. Okay. It also secures necessary fire fall protection for that same growth in the immediate vicinity. So we're currently in the final design phases, roughly 90%, which would include permitting, preparation of the construction drawing, standard specifications, and final cost estimates. So in summary, kind of the critical key infrastructure elements are the 3 million gallon tank itself, the dedicated control room and facilities. We also have extensive large diameter water piping. There's a 24-inch main that comes down the access road, and then 16-inch extensions along both Old 99 and 93rd Avenue, along with the 16-foot wide, 1,500-foot long site access road off of 93rd and the associated storm drainage facilities to accommodate the access road.
Jeff, I have a question. This is
Yeah,
the one-
definitely.
This is a project that we just discussed last year by the Preserve. Is that correct?
I believe so. It is out near the preserve, kind of to the south and the east of that. It's the city property that the reservoir site is on is actually located in Thurston County, and then distribution mains will go right into the what city's water service boundary there along 93rd.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
also, okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great. So let's see. So, moving on. So during design, we ran into some challenges that are requiring the amendment. So, the amendment element number 1 is related to the water main realignment on 93rd, which is a major driver here for the amendment. The original plan was to take the new water main directly down 93rd Avenue, like any other typical utility extension project. During design geotechnical testing, our teams discovered shallow bedrock along 93rd Avenue. So leaving the pipe in the original alignment would require pretty non-typical, highly expensive construction measures like blasting, over excavation, rock stabilization, things like that. In addition to that, we've also identified a future conflict in that this alignment would be impacted by future city roadway grading improvements. Essentially, the city's plan is to remove a large bedrock hump, which you can kind of see in this profile here. I don't know if any of you have driven out there, but it's a pretty good hump. we're looking at future design to grade that hump down and also potentially add roadway widening with bike lanes and sidewalks if we can. So in a nutshell, if we laid the pipe there now, it'd have to be relocated later at a massive expense to that utility. So with some coordination with the Tumwater School District, we're able to successfully vet out an alignment that would place the water main alignment directly to the north, shifting the water main onto school district property and get it completely out of the bedrock. The second portion of the amendment here is related to some stormwater revisions for the access road. So as I mentioned before, we've got a very lengthy 16-foot wide, 1,500-foot long access road that serves our reservoir side off of 93rd. Similar to our utility alignment challenges, site testing along the access road revealed non-infiltrating soils and also shallow bedrock. So because of these specific conditions, we originally wanted to do natural dispersion, meaning we would just sheet flow off of the access road into either swales or some sort of natural dispersion area, which is ideal. Unfortunately, with the bedrock and soils that don't infiltrate, we can't do that. It basically rendered that approach technically impossible. So to solve that, we needed to redirect the road's runoff offsite into subsurface infiltration facilities to ensure that we're in compliance with the mandatory environmental regulations and also the county drainage design control manual. So that's what's going on for that second element. So moving on to our contract and cost history to kind of give you guys a clear picture of where we stand financially. The original contract for the full design and permitting of the Southeast Reservoir project was a set not to exceed amount of $1,658,845. Since then, we have processed one amendment via director approved change order. Amendment number 1 for offsite water main relocation was at $81,215, and right now for amendment number 2, which we're looking at today, is a not to exceed amount of $139,900,000. And as discussed, this covers the critical additional design services for the water main realignment and the necessary stormwater revisions. So moving along, just in general and wrapping up, I would just like to emphasize that the project directly supports our technical development guide, water system plan asset goals. It also aligns perfectly with the city's strategic priorities and goals for 26 through 32 to be a leader in environmental health and by conserving and protecting Tumwater's water resources. So looking ahead, we anticipate completing final designs and having a bid-ready package by the end of this year, December 26, and then construction bidding taking place in the spring of 27, with construction kicking off next summer. So with that, I respectfully request the Public Works Committee place the service provider agreement number 2 with RH2 Engineering for the Southeast Water Reservoir Design Project on the June 16th, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign. And I'm happy to open the floor to any questions that anyone may have. Thank you.
Any questions?
I do, Chair, I do.
Yes.
Can we go
Hello,
back
Eileen.
to, the picture, that one, please? And then, let's see, how about that one too? Okay, so in a nutshell, rather than, oh no, the other one, go back to the main one, the one with, not that one, the other one that you had up before that one. That one. So in a nutshell, we're going to, instead of going on 93rd on our side of the road, we're going to go on the other side, the Tumwater side, Tumwater School District side. So we'll be running the line down there. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So the only thing, I have a couple questions. So then, and also too, on the road that we're punching through. So we had some concerns before that we had expressed as far as the road, how long that road is and how many trees need to be taken out. And so now I'm wondering the impact. It looks like you're going to have to do catch basins rather than having it just flow naturally. Is that what they're going to be then? On that
that's
map?
correct.
Can you go back to that one? So that means even more tree removal. What will that look like?
So there's been
in those
a
areas, in that one? Yeah, it looks
yeah,
like, because we were, again, really concerned about, how much was going to be taken
yeah.
out of there.
Yeah, so RH2's had their tree surveyor out there. We've identified heritage trees. We're preserving as many trees as possible on the site. So part of this alignment included, preservation of as many trees as possible. And this site also sits quite a ways off of the main road, but we do have just the 40-foot easement through private property to get up to our property. And so this is kind of the alignment that we landed on in order to achieve all the goals.
Yeah, I remember that, having to snake it through the forest, but
Yeah.
it's just, now that we just had our little canopy, and that you just brought up heritage trees, and then we just had our canopy briefing the other day about needing to preserve.
Okay.
It's just kind of, it just kind of like, when you start realizing that we're, if we're having to remove trees, and heritage trees are tough to replace their
Yeah, so
benefits.
those are being retained. We aren't touching any of those. And I'd be happy to follow up with you separately if you had some more detailed questions. I could kind of show you what we have going on in more detail related to trees on this site, Eileen.
Okay, that would be nice. Appreciate that. And then the only other thing was flooding that's been off of 93rd before, that whole ditch district and stuff like that. This hopefully alleviates.
Yes, very sensitive for sure.
Any
Yeah, and so we're
flooding
taking
issues with those
extensive.
guys?
Yeah, nothing so far. And I think the couple things we have going for us is, we're not going to just charge anything greater than what's pre-developed, and it'll all be captured and infiltrated in the ground. Unfortunately, just the stuff up top and along the road alignment doesn't infiltrate at all. So we're expecting full compliance and no total 100% flow control. And so we won't be adding anything crazy or new to anything that would exacerbate any other known issues.
And
So,
Councilmember Swarthout, I guess one more thing on that. So Jeff did bring up that, it's all going to be controlled on site or within the project limits.
Right.
In addition, the bedrock and the topography in the area, this actually goes the opposite direction
Okay.
than that drainage district. So even if in some circumstance design failed, which it won't, it would be going the opposite direction.
Because didn't it go it went down the bump, it went down the other direction, it went west instead of east, the flooding heads.
Correct. It's in a
Right.
basin that goes to the east toward the Deschutes River.
Right.
However,
yes, that's correct.
I mean, ours
Yeah.
will go west. It's going to be heading east now.
the
Yeah.
drainage from this access road goes into a basin that heads to the east, not to the
Correct.
west. Where the drainage
Right.
is.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, and thank you, Brandon. And that'll be demonstrated in our downstream analysis as part of the drainage report for the project. So excellent question. Thank you.
Jeff, I have a question. Since Brian, our tree expert, briefed us this week, he is working with you, when it's time for these tree removals, right?
So an interesting dynamic as a part of this project that I touched on a little bit is that it's within Thurston County permitting. So we're going through a special use permitting process with Thurston County. And so they kind of have control over that stuff. And so that was included in our overall land use package submitted to Thurston County that's currently under review.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Thurston,
thank you.
Not Tumwater. Okay. Any
Yeah.
other questions? Since no other questions, we have a recommended action to place the service provider agreement number 2 with RH2 Engineering Incorporated for the Southeast Water Reservoir Design Project on the June 16, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
So move.
So the contractors about.
Is there
I'll
any
second. Sorry.
all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Sure, everyone.
Next is Number 5, service provider agreement. No is number 6. We're done with number 5. Supplemental agreement number 3 with Tierra Row for the X Street Roundabout project.
All right. Well, good morning, council members. For the record, Brandon Hicks, Transportation and Engineering Director for the city. I want to say Tyle and Jeff did a really good job of getting a lot of information out quickly. So I expected this meeting to go long, but it probably will not. What I have and what the two next topics are should be pretty quick because they're more basic agreements. For what I'm talking about today, it is amendment number 3 for Tierra Right Away, and they are our consultant for right-of-way acquisition on the X Street Roundabout. And I have a presentation, but I guess I was deciding not to share it. All right, I trust everybody can see that. I'm going to be really brief. This is going to be the 4th time that y'all have seen this agreement because we had the original and now this is our 3rd amendment. And I'll kind of go over why we're here again in just a little bit. And then in addition, Joe Norman, one of our senior engineers in the department, is going to be talking about another element of this project. So I'm going to try to keep my information as little as possible so he's still got some meat to talk about. But between the two of us, we'll be able to answer any questions you have. See if I remember. There we go. So just a quick high-level reminder, and again, Joel probably hit some of these same topics on his because we didn't have an opportunity to coordinate our presentations. But X Street Roundabout, it's the 4th project derived from the Capitol Boulevard Corridor Plan. Previously, we completed the feasibility study and then obviously I-5 Trosper Capitol Boulevard reconfiguration. And then we've also completed a corridor design, which was just a design-only project, which brought a couple of our projects to 100% design and then a few to 60% design. And that was really about trying to get us in a good position to receive grant funding and then have more definitive timelines when we are able to secure funds. Total project cost for the X Street Roundabout is $7.7 million. We have received $5.4 million in 5 separate federal grants from Thurston Regional Planning Council. So the remainder, so the difference in the 2.3 million between our grants and the total cost, we have $1.4 million coming from the transportation CFP, and then about $900,000 coming from the water and sewer CFPs. Again, Tierra Right-of-Way Services is our right-of-way consultant for the project. They sort of act as a liaison between city staff and the property owners. We don't have staff that work for the city that meet the qualifications to do the negotiations. And quite frankly, it's actually good to have that separation because they act to serve all parties and really just try to make sure that everything is agreeable and fair. And they're just really good at what they do. See, I don't know if I had anything else. Just for an update on the property acquisitions to date, we have acquired, I want to say that there's 8 acquisition areas on this project between 7 property owners. We have fully acquired 3 of them, or if they're not actually signed or executed, we're actually scheduled for escrow. We're really close on 2 more, and then there's uncertainty on the other 2. You can never really predict right away because there's a lot to entertain. There's differences in opinion, there's personal feelings, and so we really have to go about it whatever time it takes, it takes. For sort of describing why we're at amendment number 3, well, really what this is doing is it's increasing the current not to exceed amount in the consultant agreement from $184,220 up to $226,490. And I have a lot of the reasons, and these aren't even all of them on the screen there. But I would say, not really wanting to read off every single one, I would say that the most notable struggles to date have been, it's been very difficult to relocate one of the properties in this project. There is a full relocation of one of the businesses. It's been very difficult because there isn't a lot of market availability. There's been substantial effort for our right-of-way consultant to work with the property owner, and there has been some success. They have actually found and acquired another property. They're working through some permitting struggles with Thurston County because it is not located in Tumwater. You know, we were first hoping to find them a location in Tumwater, but there wasn't any that really quite met what they were looking for. But they found a site that they really like in Thurston County, sort of in that area in between Olympia and Lacey, where the city limits don't quite meet, off of Martin Way, I think. And don't quote me on that. Some of the other significant struggles have been, honestly, even just making contact with one of the property owners. There's an out-of-state property owner that we couldn't even get a hold of them for months. And we've gone through this before, but we have gotten a hold of them, and that's actually now one of the properties that we have closed negotiations, and we're I want to say on that one we actually have the agreements all executed as of yesterday. There has also been quite a bit of effort into reorienting one of the sites for a business that doesn't have to move, but there are some substantial efforts that have to take place on their site for moving their parking to an area that wasn't previously developed and doing some reorientation, but it's looking really good. And just so you don't know, when we go through and we impact a property, if we're not moving them, we go through a lot of effort to make sure that they can continue to operate their business the way that they always have. And you know, I would say that those are the biggest struggles to date, but again, there's a list of them there, and there's also some more. But you really can't predict how much effort it's going to take for a right-of-way consultant to secure all of the areas that we need for a project. It's honestly just a dartboard. You kind of take a guess, but there is no control on how long and how much effort negotiations can take.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, so the bottom line is it's taking longer than we expected with the unresponsive property owner and just getting a hold of them, so it's gonna increase costs.
That's just one of them, but admittedly, the property owner that we haven't been able to get a hold of, we've secured that acquisition area. So some of the other struggles I've mentioned have made some of the other properties a little bit more difficult to secure. But we were supposed to start construction on this project in 2025. That was our goal. But it has taken a lot longer. I mean, we're right now, you know, I would say this is a very aspirational goal that isn't likely, but it'd be great if we're still out to bid, maybe late fall, early winter of this year. But if not, it's probably in the spring. And so we're almost 2 years behind from what we had wanted to do. This consultant's been working with us on this project since 2023.
Okay, so do you think that the 42,000 is gonna be the final, or do you think they're gonna come back again?
My gut feeling is that it will be the final based on the way conversations are going with the remaining areas.
Okay,
But it is one of those things where, I mean, if I'm back here for number 4, I'll just be explaining, I'll be explaining what, you know, what the reasons were.
all right, thanks, Brandon.
I'm very optimistic that this is it. And again, I said it would be short, and so that's all I have. And Joe Norman again will be presenting after me on another topic for the same project. So you'll probably get a lot of the same information, and then between the two of us, we'll be able to answer all of your questions, or maybe most of them. You might stump us. So the ask today, or the recommendation, is to place supplemental agreement number 3 with Tierra Right-of-Way Services for the X Street Roundabout project on the June 16th, 2026 City Council consent calendar, with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign. And with that, any questions?
No questions. It looks like it's pretty standard. So I'll go ahead and read we have a recommended action to place a supplemental agreement number 3 with Tierra Ray of Right of Way Services for the X Street Roundabout project on the June 16, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, and the motion passes. Next, project prospectus with Washington State Department of Transportation for the same X Street Roundabout project.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can everybody see my slideshow?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So as Brandon said, my name is Joe Norman. I'm a senior engineer down in the Transportation and Engineering Department. Today we're going over still the X Street Roundabout project, in particular the construction obligation paperwork, and getting approval of the local agency federal aid prospectus. So some more background for you. The X Street Roundabout project is part of a larger Capitol Boulevard corridor plan. This happens to be, I think it's the third project in the whole host of projects that we're going to be doing here, following the Trosper and Capitol Boulevard project that was just recently completed. We are replacing a signalized intersection with a roundabout, which is aiming to increase our safety for all modes of travel. It'll add additional pedestrian and bicycle improvements. We'll be undergrounding our overhead utilities, upgrading our public utilities, so our water, sewer, and stormwater systems, and improving our roadway longevity by removing the underground concrete panels. The construction obligation portion is paperwork in order to release our grant funds that were administered by the Thurston Regional Planning Council, their FHWA grant funds. We have $2,941,000 that we secured for construction, which getting this construction obligation will allow us to move forward on our towards construction of the project. So fiscal notes, our construction estimate is right around $4.9 million currently. The grant funds for the project to date have totaled $5,373,000 for the entire project, and that includes the $2,941,000 that we're trying to get released upon acceptance of the construction obligation documents. The remaining funding, Brandon actually had better information than me to share, is from the transportation CFP and the water and sewer funds. And short and sweet, are there any other questions on what we're asking for here?
It sounds like you are correct, Joe. Short and
Kelly?
sweet. Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I ruined it, huh?
You're good.
So as part of this funding, is public outreach going to be a part of it? We've gotten a few emails about the roundabout and people's fears. So I'm just wondering if we have a public engagement as part of this construction.
So definitely we'll have a lot of communication with construction. Our communications team has definitely ramped up the amount of effort that we do to keep the public informed about construction efforts. In addition, we've actually been working with the public in general, and then specifically the property owners along Capitol Boulevard corridor for I want to say it's 12 years,
Okay.
on multiple occasions through the original corridor plan, feasibility, and then the whole design project. So all of the business owners that are impacted here, are very well aware of the project. I mean, it's been a part of their lives for over a decade. I think that there's only one newer property owner that it was kind of new to them. But we've been able to inform them pretty well through right away. But again, construction communication efforts are honestly second to none right now for the region. So yeah, we'll definitely keep everybody well informed.
Yeah, I asked because the city of Shoreline, they have a new roundabout that they're getting ready to complete and lots of public outrage about it. As I don't know why people hate roundabouts so much. I think that I feel like they make things run better. But they did some public engagement and they actually used a little video game that they took out to pop up events and stuff around the city of Shoreline and just let people drive what the roundabout was going to be on a video game. And I just thought that that was kind of a cool idea.
I actually, that sounds very intriguing. I don't know that we would be able to complete that before construction, but so you are correct. We do still get folks who are not fans of roundabouts. For the most part, everybody got used to them. I think our first roundabout was 20 something years ago here in Tumwater. And right now I would say we've got quite a few. So most folks are used to them, but we do still get some folks that aren't fans of them. And a lot of the time we're able to kind of explain the benefits and then help them with the parts that they're uncertain about. But I don't know that we'll have a video game out, but I'm very intrigued by it. And I can tell you that my son would like to play it.
I'll put you in contact with City of Shoreline.
Thanks.
I think
Oh.
that's it.
Okay, so we have a recommended action to place the project prospectus with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the X Street Roundabout project on June 16, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
So moved.
I'll second.
Well,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you,
Finally,
everyone.
you're welcome, Joe. Finally, number 8, project prospectus with Washington State Department of Transportation for the Deschutes Valley Trail project. Looking forward to hearing this one.
Good morning, council members. I'm Jared Verhey, the Capital Projects Manager for the city. Can you all see my screen? Great. Okay, so similar to X Street, I'm here to present Deschutes Valley Trail in pursuit of a recommendation for the mayor to sign the prospectus for construction obligation, which would allow us to again use the federal fund awarded to the city for the project. The recommended action is specific to segment C, which is shown in blue on this graphic. But I first wanted to just start with a brief overview of DVT as a whole, just to kind of reorient and familiarize everybody with the project as a whole. So DVT overall is approximately 2.5 miles of trail, which ultimately would connect 5 city parks and Tumwater Valley Golf Course. It's been broken down into a total of 7 segments, shown on the graphic here. Segment A1 was constructed in 2021 and connects Historical Park to the Falls Park at the brewery. A2 would be coming down the road, and would make a connection to the brewery park, and then ultimately extend to E Street just along the north side of the Craft District. Segment B runs from the end of the A1 segment north of the Craft District, down Tumwater Valley or along Tumwater Valley Drive, kind of along the golf course parking lot, and ultimately terminate, at the northeast corner of the Valley Athletic Club. And then segment D would pick up at the end of segment C and ultimately extend from the end of segment C to Pioneer Park, crossing the Deschutes River. And then the last part in that is the Palermo Spur, which would connect about the midpoint of segment C, ultimately up to Linda Street near the Trosper Road roundabouts, and also to Palermo Pocket Park in the neighborhood down there. To kind of hit on the highlights of segment C, it's approximately 1.1 miles of asphalt trail, so not quite half of the overall trail length that remains to be constructed. There's a termination point for just this segment at near the northeast corner of the Valley Athletic Club, kind of up towards the top of the screen. And there's also a connection to the M Street cul-de-sac. And then continuing on from that general location, there would be a bridge that crosses the existing drainage ditch there adjacent to the west side of the golf course. The bridge is about 85 feet long over that drainage ditch. Through a good majority of the segment C trail length, because it runs adjacent to the golf course itself, there will be some fencing, different heights of fencing separation to kind of provide some protection to the trail users if there was ever an errant golf ball or anything along the trail, and then also help to kind of keep some separation of the trail users and keep the users from inadvertently entering into some of the play areas of the golf course. Also, as part of the project, there will be some some wetland buffer restoration. We don't have any work in the buffers, but some of the trail would be, no work within wetlands, but some of the trail would be within the wetland buffers. So there's restoration that would go along with that. Overall, we would are tentatively expecting the project to bid in later this year, and then begin construction either later this year or early 2027. So just kind of hit on the obligation and some of the costs. The project is estimated to be approximately $5.5 million. Of that, about $2.6 million will be federal funds administered through Thurston County Regional Planning Council. And that would be for the construction of the trail. And then the remaining approximate $2.9 million in funding would come from the Metropolitan Park District, park impact fees, and the general fund. Are there any questions? Councilmember Jefferson, I think you're muted.
Yes, can you go back to the previous slide that shows the trail where it said that someone else was responsible for a portion of the trail?
Yes. So Trail Segment B has been designed as part of the Craft District, but it will be constructed by the city. So there's that little segment or that little kind of subpart of Segment B that's already designed, but would also still need to be constructed likely as part of Segment B.
Okay, so for now, this is just segment C we're talking about beginning.
Correct. Yeah.
And then do you have when the entire thing, or at least segment B, might be completed?
We are still so we have a service provider agreement for the design of the remaining segments that either haven't been built or also, along with segment C. So we have a service provider agreement for that design.
Mhm.
But I would say we haven't entirely landed on which part of the trail would be constructed next, but we will be moving it, or definitely like one of our next steps is really to pick up the design of these remaining segments. But as far as a timing standpoint on which one comes next or uh, what to expect there, I think we're still in kind of a decision-making process.
And
Okay.
just maybe to follow up on that, right now, we have a significant portion of the funding needed to complete the entire corridor. We have, in addition to the $2.6 million that was discussed earlier for segment C, we've also got $5.8 million from the state. But a good portion of that is $1 million of that is actually being used for the design. So the other $4.8 million will fund whatever the next phase is that we pursue. But again, as Jared mentioned, we have not determined what segment is next. In addition, we still need to come up with more funding to complete the trail. And really what it's about is trying to replace the Metropolitan Parks Districts and the park impact fees that we're going to have to spend. So we are actually preparing a grant application for about another 2 million. So fingers crossed on that. And we'll continue to try to seek out funding. But ultimately, we're trying to get the entire trail constructed within the next couple to few years.
Okay. Very exciting news for our residents. And again, this would be something that our communication manager can give our residents an update about because we're slowly approaching. So I'm excited about this.
Absolutely. And this isn't just a trail when you look at it. It's 2.5 miles, but it connects existing bike and pedestrian facilities actually that go all the way up to Capitol Lake.
Yeah.
And then it connects it to Henderson Boulevard, where we've already got wide shoulders and some bike lanes. And so we do have another project in the transportation CFP to widen the bridge on Henderson Boulevard, which is going to be the last bottleneck, or build a sister shared use path bridge. So we're getting close to having some really major transportation corridors connected.
Yes, and then this is going to impact, our tourism, right, and movements in Tumwater and access to our craft district and just making that a more active community that we've been talking about when it comes to transportation. So great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments, my fellow teammates, council members?
Nope.
With that, can I have a motion, please?
So I move to place the project prospectus with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the Deschutes Valley Trail Project on the June 16, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the prospectus.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And motion passes. Are there any additional and future items?
No additional items for this meeting.
Okay, thank you, everyone. With that, I consider the meeting adjourned. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.